Hi everyone, this is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. My guest today is Julie Dargan. Julie is a nurse and naturopath, and she helps women deal with their postmenopausal bodies. Welcome, Julie.
Hi, Margaret. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to talk to you about something that we've had quite a few comments about and some questions, and hope you can help us. And that is, can you give us some idea on how to get our hormones back in balance after our 60s, and how to use natural solutions to do that, if possible?
Okay, so the hormones we're talking about would be your estrogen, your progesterone, your serotonin, all the feel-good factors that we need to keep ourselves in shape, and mind and body active is what we would like to be all the time. One thing I will mention is fiber in your diet. A lot of women are just not getting enough fiber in their diet. As we get older, I can remember as a young child watching old women eating prunes every morning for breakfast. And I used to think, and I know I went through one stage where I thought, now I know why we need prunes. But once I introduced more fiber into my diet, naturally, I realised we just need to pay more attention to it. We can't get away with the fast food diets we might have got away with in our 20s or 30s or our 40s. As you get older, you really have to pay more attention to what you're doing. So some things would be flax seeds. You might call them linseeds in the States. Flax seeds, linseeds, they're both the same thing. That's excellent. I will make a strong point here is that you have to soak your flax seeds. A lot of people don't. They just put the seeds and they sprinkle them over their breakfast cereal or something like that. But the outer husk is very strong. And if you don't break that outer husk by either soaking it or grinding with your teeth 20 or 30 times, which most of us don't, or you put it into a coffee grinder and then it becomes a powder, then you're not getting any of the nutrients, the essential oils that help you to keep you regular. And I did work with a doctor once who did a lot of colonoscopies, and she says the seeds were creating a lot of problems with the colon because it was sticking to the colon. So a lot of people don't realise this, so I like to say that whenever I talk about flax seeds.
How long would you soak them? How long would you soak them?
Don't need to be soaked very long, because you put your flax seeds into water, like even in a clear glass, and you can try it at home, fill it up about halfway, even to the full, and you'll see them start to swell. And then what you find in the fluid will be like a gel.
Okay.
So you can just drink down that gel if you want to, and you can throw the flax seeds away. If you're particularly, like a lot of people sometimes get, especially when I travel, I find I can get constipated if I'm or not as regular as I'd like to be, because you're not eating as well as you would like to. So that keeps you very regular. First thing in the morning, best way to do it.
Okay. So is constipation a result of a hormonal change, or is it just some...
It is, because as estrogen levels slow down and your progesterone levels slow down, you're not producing as much bile, and bile is what gives the stools the softness. So definitely, when you decrease your exercise, your metabolism inside is not moving as well as it should. Some women, as they get older, don't drink as enough water. They might find they're drinking tea upon tea upon tea, and that can be very dehydrating. So there's lots of different reasons behind being constipated as you get older.
Okay.
So keeping yourself regular is very important, yes.
Okay. So you've got these hormonal changes. You talked about estrogen, progesterone, serotonin, and other hormones. What other diet and lifestyle changes would you recommend to sort of balance them?
Okay, well, an important one for women as they're hitting the menopause is the hot flushes and the sweats during the day. And that can go on into their 70s, some women have told me that they can experience. So dressing in layers is a very good point to make. I find now when I go out, I'll just wear a very light top and a thick jacket. So the minute I get in there, I know I can take the jacket off, because there's nothing worse when you're in there, you've got a big polar neck on and you're rummaging trying to get it off. So dressing in layers is very important. Or start to wear zips so you can unzip it very quickly, because if you can nip a hot flush in the initial first feelings, it won't progress to anything further. So dressing.
Okay, so that's a really good. Actually, that's a very good piece of advice, because I think that if you can, like all these things, preventative. If you can anticipate what might happen and be prepared. What about diet? What sort of food?
Yeah.
What are the feel good foods for helping with these hormones?
The feel good. Well, one thing I would say to a lot of people is to keep a food journal, because what a lot of people don't realize what could be affecting them. For me, anytime I eat garlic, I know I'm going to have hot flushes that night. It's amazing. Yes. So I limit my garlic now because I love my garlic. I'll have it on everything. It's a great antibiotic and everything. But for other women, it could be something different. You can't drink as much alcohol as what you might have used to when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to decrease the alcohol consumption, which a lot of people don't realize. Other factors that you need in your diet is cholesterol. We need cholesterol. So a lot of people, as they're aging, are taking anti-cholesterol tablets. So what that is doing is eliminating your cholesterol. Now, look, anyone needs to go and see their doctor about this and make sure that they're talking to their doctor. But this is where eggs is a factor. So making sure you have a little bit of cholesterol in your diet, lecithin granules is highly recommended, especially for heart patients and things. So
is it protein or is it just eggs in particular that are good for cholesterol?
Well, eggs in particular are good for cholesterol.
Okay, that's the whole egg, not just the white.
Well, I don't believe in eggs. The yolks is where the cholesterol comes in. Okay. So that was where the eggs got their bad thing, and they said eat your egg whites. Mm-hmm. But you need them both together in order to absorb your nutrients. So everything should be eaten as a whole. Not take one little bit out. Once you eat your egg as a whole, then you're getting all the nutrients together because they work in synergy together, so you're absorbing all the proper nutrients. Yes. Other foods would be, yes, your B6, introducing your B6, because that helps you to produce more progesterone, and your progesterone is your feel-good hormone. The progesterone is, if anyone suffers fluid retention, it's the progesterone that helps to release the fluid.
Okay.
So B6 is excellent for getting that in, and that you get that in walnuts, lean red meat, poultry, seafood, spinach and beans is where you get that. It's one thing to say to people more B6, but if people don't understand where they get it from, that's your...
Well, and that's another thing. It's a whole other conversation, is it, around supplements? You could get a supplement for B6, but it's better to get it from the food that produces that, if you can.
Because if you take B6, say if you take walnuts and for your B6,
right,
it's also got other nutrients in it that helps you to absorb B6. Whereas if you just take a tablet of B6 in isolation, you may not be taking something else that helps you. And also the body doesn't always recognize supplements. Especially the highly synthetic supplements. It doesn't see it as a natural food, so it might not absorb it as well as what it would if it was taken in its food state.
I think it's always a good idea when you hear someone say, try putting some B6 in your diet, just to type, in the computer, just, what foods are rich in B6, because I think it's funny, women as they get a bit older do start to have a bit more healthy diet. So I think you're talking to a group that's open and receptive to trying to weave it into their diet rather than, any other way. But
it's also good to know why you're eating certain foods, because that might help you to gravitate towards them, and then just to make sure that they are in your diet as well, and things. Another one for progesterone production is zinc, and actually a good source of zinc is dark chocolate.
Great.
So any excuse to have. I like to have my 2 little squares of dark chocolate every night.
Well, it's actually interesting because we've written a couple of stories on this, reassuring people that coffee and chocolate are fine in moderation because they do have goodness in them, and it's okay. Okay, so hormones are these wild little things that get completely confused as you get a little older. But just finally, what about, you talked about a journal, and you talked about, just being aware of how you dress and so on. What other lifestyle changes, just not food related, but just in your behavior, would you suggest?
Well, just to make sure you exercise more, a little bit of walking around, get sunlight onto your body, get the vitamin D absorption into your body. Yoga and meditation is excellent because the meditation helps to relax the mind, because Stress plays a big part as you are getting older.
Yes.
Your body can't cope with the stress as well as what it used to. So if you can get a little bit of yoga, meditation, and again, there's a whole heap of YouTubes. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You might have to go off and do something. Join a walking group, but make sure you join a happy walking group. When you're having a coffee, make sure you've got positive friends. I'll often sit in a coffee shop and I'll listen to people at the next table, and all they do is moan and groan. And I might see them the next day and they're doing the same complaints. And it's kind of like, okay, we might have a few problems in our life, but you just got to have a happy outlook. And that really helps to keep the good hormones, the serotonin levels up high, and helps you to have a positive outlook, yes. And get out in the sunshine is one of the best things for improving your well-being.
Well, you're very fortunate you live in Melbourne, where you probably get a little more sunlight than our friends in the United Kingdom or in even parts of the States, but it's true. And actually, I was going to mention that we actually at 60andMe, that you're talking our language, by the way, everything you've said. It's totally the way that we encourage women. But we have a great yoga series, a video series ourselves. And we also, if you don't like the real physical yoga, also have chair yoga series, which is really good. And I got a workout from my chair yoga. It's not easy. But it's good for you, don't you think? Anyway, you've given us some great advice, as always. It's really good to have you here, Julie. We'll have to get you back and get some questions from the community and go a little bit deeper on this. But thank you so much.
What people are looking for, then you're able to give the answers a lot better. Yes. Honing on what they really want. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what would you, anything that you'd like to say in closing? Any suggestions or inspiration?
Hot lavender bath. I just love my lavender baths, yes, and have nice little candles, and it's my time. I often find that's when I'm feeling particularly down, I might go to the cupboard, raid the cupboard for some biscuits or some, stuff that I really shouldn't be doing. But once I've had that bath, I'm just... My husband says, "You feeling better?"
As you float away. No, I think that's great, and I think that loving yourself and being kind to yourself reduces the stress.
And it doesn't cost a lot. We all think we have to spend a lot of money to do it, but it doesn't really cost a lot. Just to pamper yourself every now and again. Yes.
It's at the heart of dealing with these hormones. Just pamper yourself occasionally.
It is. Yes.
Thanks so much, Julie. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.